Hi Jim, Ravid is here. Apologies for not sending this earlier. So just a quick overview of the important things that you need to set up um, in order to make the advanced filters work, and we are working on a better tutorial that will explain it further. So in a nutshell, this is the advanced filters widget. It's a very simple widget type, advanced filters plugin. The most important thing that you need to do before anything is that you need to make sure that every filter that you're planning to use within that widget will exist in the dashboard beforehand. Because if it won't exist, then you will see an error that says, well, apparently the error doesn't show up if you disable a filter, but if it doesn't exist in the dashboard at all, then you'll see this error. So let's get it back for a second. Good. So now we should have our filters, and you can see now it got back to be working. Now, after you have your filters that you plan out, if you go to the edit mode, you need to add their dimension as a panels, and the orders of the panels is the order that they will be plotted within the widget. So you have several settings. So you can enable presets. I'll get to it in a second. You can decide whether to use or not use apply button. I personally like better the apply button, but it highly depends on the dashboard itself and how heavy it is. Other than that, you have layout options. So direction is less relevant for you. It's more for Hebrew or Arabic speaking users. But in general, you can have it on the other way around. You can decide whether you want it spread or to be centered within the widget place, like in here. Usually we use spread. You can change the drop-down width, the spacing between them, row spacing, and how many filters you'd like to have in a row. So, for example, if you want to have a vertical layout, you will put one in here, and then you will get a vertical layout. Or if you want a squarish layout, then you can simply do like this. If you want to add some spacing, that spacing between the rows, well, I'll let you play with it. Next in line is the buttons themselves. So you can decide, let's switch to the row layout for a second. It's easier to understand based on that. So you can choose whether to plot the buttons right side of the drop downs or below them. And you can decide whether they will be aligned to the start or to the end or to be in the center. I personally think it would be better to put it in the end or at the side. Depends on how many filters you're planning to have. You can control the width of the, You can control the width of the buttons, their colors, their texts, and pretty much everything. So this is how your styling and layout works. Now let's go to the more interesting part. So for each one of the panels, you will have a settings panel. So you can define which placeholder you'd like to be plotted. And you can decide whether it's a single selection or multi-selection. So this is how it is with the multi-selection. If I switch it to single selection, then sorry about that. If you switch it to single selection, then it will be, give me a second, I'll just close the Slack channel so it won't interfere. So then it can be only one, and etc. And if it's a date field, then you have another option called date range. So single selection and multi-selection works similarly. We use the periods. So if it's currently set to years, then you will see years. But if I'll switch it to like months, then the drop down will present months. But other than that, you have the date range option. So when you choose the date range option, you will have like this date range that you can use instead. So the user can decide what they want to do. Last but not least for this one is the dependency mechanism. So if you notice, each one of them has a parent parameter. So we implemented our own dependency mechanism, so you can decide multiple drop-downs to be dependent on the same selection. So you can select a date range or something like that and have all the other values filter out based on that. To do that, it's simple. So right now, you go to the drop-down that you want to be a descendant of another one, and then you choose the parent that you wish to have. So right now, according to this setting, brands will be filtered according to category. So if you choose category, the available brands will be only those that are relevant for the chosen category. So let's see this one in action for a second. So if I'll do Apple Mac, I have these brands. As you can see, it's a very small list, but when everything is selected, then the list is very, very, very long. This is pretty much it. You can define multiple children for the same dropdown. You can't define multiple parents for the same child. That's something that we are not sure that we'll be adding because it makes performance issues. But if it's a requirement, please let me know. This is possible to achieve. Now I'll go to the presets and I'll go to a different demo for it. So here you have presets. So presets pretty much acts like bookmarks or favorite filters. So here it is. You have several presets that you can play with. We're still working on their design. But in general, so for example, you can with one click automatically select multiple selections and save them. So I can switch to USA and you can see things have changed. Now if I want to save a new preset, let's, I don't know, make a different selection and make it only female, something like that. Now when you click the plus preset sign, and I'll call it LV test and save it. Now I have my test in here, so now I can switch between that one and others. As you can see, now I'll switch to the test. And that's pretty much it. I'll just delete it. To delete a preset, the user simply clicks the X icon. The presets are saved at the user basis. We do plan to add a feature in the future that will enable you to enable the designer to define predefined presets alongside the user's defined presets that the user won't be able to delete, only the designer. And with regards to the design, you have several design options, not too many yet, but in general, when presets is enabled, you have this dialog which lets you choose how to call it, whether it's a preset or not, and the colors and the background color, and like design it a little bit so it looks better. In general, if you want, you can plot it this way and it will be at the side and the preset will always be at the top. That's pretty much it. Let me know what you think. And apologies for being very quickly. I was sick this week and still catching up my backlog. So have a great day. Let me know if you have any feedbacks. I'd be happy to hear them. Cheers.